Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce,
Patrick Kane,
and Matt Foxley.
You can contact us on email at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. What I wanted to ask you, Pat, was how you were finding your Steam controller after a few weeks.
Yeah, really love using it, actually. Yeah, it's I'll just try and break it down as simpler,
English words, Pat. Come on.
Can you show it on the
Basically,
screen? Show it on the screen as well. Show it on your
it's
webcam.
not a replacement for your Xbox controller.
Yep.
It is a alternative method of playing games that normally require mouse and keyboard. That is how you should start thinking about what it is as a usable controller. It's not, I'm throwing my Xbox away now, I'm using this instead. In some cases, it's better to use than games which are made with a controller in mind, but not all of them. In fact, most of them, you'd probably say that the improvements are not worth putting your Xbox controller down for, if that makes sense. So the biggest differences, and the reason that you can't play a game like Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, for example, is you don't have a right thumbstick anymore. You have like a haptic pad, so it's like a trackpad, and as you move your thumb across it, it does this very clever kind of haptic trick, which makes it feel like it's a 3D trackball. So, in other words, you slide your thumb across it really quickly, and it's like a trackball. It will keep spinning, so it feels like something's spinning, but there's obviously nothing spinning. It's just the battery vibrating. But it's a really clever trick, and it can actually make navigating a little bit easier sometimes. And in the case of things like Fallout, it was absolutely like the correct controller to use. It was better to use than like the standard Xbox controller, and largely because of the way that pad works. So if it's more precise for look movement than a thumbstick on an Xbox controller, essentially. So it's easier to actually focus it on what you're actually wanting to look at than with a thumbstick, because it's more precise.
Yeah, I had a brief go on it. I didn't get the ball feeling when I was on the track on the right trackpad.
Can't remember if it was turned on in the thing I
might not
have
been, but it felt very much like a touch screen. But
yeah.
What I did really dig was the paddles on the back.
Yes. Yeah.
It's that is so cool, having those extra controls there.
Yeah.
And
I was going to get to that. They're basically, the reason they're so good is they've basically just taken the experience of holding a controller and added an extra control without actually having to really do anything. You simply increase the pressure of you holding the controller, and they've turned that into a control. They've turned that into an input, into a button, and that is. You're absolutely right. That is one of the best things about the controller. Like, it's amazing for crouching and jumping, or running and jumping. It's
like the same amount of travel that it has at the end of the triggers as well. I found it's got like an extra click when you on the triggers, isn't there?
I'm not sure you mean, mate.
When you've got the trigger pressed all the way down, you can push them in a bit more. Is that in there? I'm pretty sure that was in there, or am I getting mixed up with the Xbox thing?
Yeah, sorry, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, the thumb ones, but the actual triggers. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But yeah, just having those kind of like I said, the buttons you use for a crouch or a jump, it just means that they've made like an input that doesn't feel so much like an input. It doesn't feel like you're moving across to press a button. It just feels it feels more natural, and there's less abstraction in like what you're doing and what actually happens, and that's really cool. Obviously, I mean that's a really.
That's not what I was expecting to be most impressed with, but it's cool that they're in there. I think the analog stuff would require a bit of getting used to for me anyway.
Here's the thing, I think
it's really comfortable though, and not as big as what people were saying it was.
Yeah. But here's the thing, I think really the main strength of it is the way that they've handled the software side. So I didn't really get a chance to show you any of that. I can't remember. Oh no, actually I did think.
Oh, you showed me some of the configs that people have uploaded.
Yeah, exactly. And basically the point is that that's what makes the product become better and better with time, is that as more and more people try and make their own configs for the more popular games, and obviously to a lesser degree to the less popular games, that it's basically user voted. So you can very, very, very quickly, within seconds, find out what the most popular user configuration for each game is. So you don't really have to think about it. And then if that's not perfect for you, it's very, very easy to just change a couple of things about that. Or you can change very drastic things about that. Like, for example, one of the cool functions it has, which is the gyro. And I found that I could actually use the gyro as a controller as well. It's very precise, and if you set it up right, you can actually use it as a look control, which is
that's mad.
Really bizarre.
That's mad.
But that's basically what I'm saying is cool about it. That it's so the fact that it's so customizable, you can make it. It can be good for different people for very different reasons. Kind of like Fallout 4 or Skyrim. It's the same sort of thing.
What are you playing with it then, Pat? What are you using it for?
I tried. You know what? The first thing I tried with was Quake 3.
Oh, really?
Just because that game was definitely not made for a controller.
No.
I could play it with Quake 3. I could play it in VR with Quake 3, and I was using the gyro as the look and stuff, and actually getting frags.
Cool.
That was the first thing I tried it with. I tried it with pretty half of the things that were installed at the time. But first person shooters.
Can you play Battlefront with it, the new game?
I did play Battlefront with it, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So that you played in the beta, and how was that with this Steam controller? Is it good?
So yeah, like I said, I would actually normally choose to play that game with a controller anyway.
Would you?
Yeah, I'm a bit weird like that. I don't really like mouse and keyboard if I can get away with it, even though I know it's more accurate.
So you can't hit a barn door unless it's got aim assist.
Wow.
Boom! I didn't wait. I mean, I just came straight out with it. You know.
I completely understand though. It's like a comfort thing. After a while, I get sick of being sort of in this position.
Also, it's like a natural thing. I just don't like. That for me is not how I want to be playing games, like having my arms sticking
Zombie
out.
Zombie mode, yeah.
You're right, it's an absolute comfort thing, and also it's like an abstraction thing, isn't it? Like, using a mouse and keyboard is what I do when I'm working, when I'm, making something.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
I have a bit of an attachment to that thing, so I don't want to feel like that when I'm playing.
Relaxing,
something. So a controller is always a game thing. It's always playing. I just have that preconception, and it's just how I just haven't really let that get away. But the point is, in things like that, where I say, right, okay, I could play mouse and keyboard, but I prefer to play controller. Well, now the experience is better for me because this piece of hardware enables that type of play better than.
And how much is it? Is it expensive?
Just a controller.
It's expensive?
I think it's about £40.
Yeah, okay. 40 quid.
Not that expensive then.
With 2 free games, it comes with Portal 2 and
Rocket
League. Yeah,
which is an excellent game.
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
It's a great game.
Awesome game.
And you obviously need to link it up to something else. It's not got anything built in it to run those games. There's nothing. It's just a controller, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a controller.
Well, it's got its own drivers, hasn't it?
The software side I was talking about is Steam. So because it's the Steam controller.
Oh, right. So you can set
all of it is through Steam.
Steam big picture on your TV, and then away you go with the controller.
Absolutely, yeah, and you can do it mid-game as well. So I've been playing Jedi Academy in VR, and I've been using that as the controller.
Right.
And you can. It works really well. Obviously that game didn't have controller support because it was so old. So for that to work, to absolutely do its job, that for me tells you that it does its job, like if that makes sense. But yeah, like to kind of like underline it, the best thing about this controller is that it's going to get better because of that software support. You can very quickly see that is its strong point.
So does it work on Arc then? Like Arc's like a...
I haven't got Arc.
Okay, well, I just wondered if it worked with that because I mean, I know they're probably developing it to use with that or something. You know.
Here's the thing: I haven't, apart from Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which did a very kind of different thing and said, right, this game is about thumbsticks as the main input. Because it does that, that's the only game I've found so far that I couldn't play with the Steam controller. That's the only game that I haven't been able to play with.
Right. Okay.
I've been able to play like things like Limbo and. First-person shooters, Skyrim, stuff like that. I've been able to play all of those games, and most of the time it's more useful than an Xbox controller. But what I'm saying is, if something's made for an Xbox controller, it's not necessarily more useful.
So what's that funny thing called then? The thing that you roll your thumb on that's not got the there's no pad on there. What's that called? What do they call that?
It's a circular pad, a circular thumb pad.
Yeah, what is that?
And basically, it's just a touchpad. It's a touchpad. But what I was trying to explain is like the batteries do this haptic thing. It's basically like a very, very precise controlled rumble, and what they're trying to do is emulate the feeling of kind of resistance and basically. I guess it's meant to feel like inertia. Like it's meant to feel like there's a ball spinning in there once after. So if you move it really slowly, it doesn't do that. But if you swipe it across, it will have some movement afterwards, as if so you feel that the movement is still going. If that makes sense. But yeah, it's quite a useful thing. It's quite cool, and you can play around. You can turn it up and turn it down and stuff. Oh, and another thing actually, I should probably mention that. So I've played loads and loads of games with this, and I've been playing like very long. Sort of game times, like things like Fallout 4, playing it sort of like 5 hours at a time. And something I've noticed, unless there's some kind of weird software bug, I haven't actually charged it yet, and the battery is still 100%. So either there's a weird software bug, or they've got really good at energy optimization of AA batteries.
Or you're radioactive.
Yeah, it's dongle on the other end.
When you're not using it, do you put it near the dongle?
I'm always near the dongle, really.
Is it wireless charging?
Far away.
Yeah, he's in a small room. Look, how can he get away from it?
No, I don't think so. No,
okay.
the dongle's not big enough for that. No.
That's pretty cool, though.
But yeah,
Pat's giving off like radioactive waste from wearing that headset for so long that basically the Oculus Rift has just been feeding his brain,
just got a half-life of millions of years now, and
sponsored by the Daily Mail.
VR gave me cancer.
But yeah, basically, it's a very cool thing. It's not necessarily something you need unless you think that there is maybe occasions where you want to play a game that's mouse and keyboard and you'd rather not play it that way, or if there's just ways that you'd rather customize the way you're playing something with a controller, if you just want to do something a bit differently and you want that kind of extra functions of the extra buttons. And
just out of interest, Rob, would you buy one of these? Would you buy a Steam controller?
Personally, I'm not sold on it because I don't have a use case for it, because the games that I play that I feel like I need the accuracy of a mouse for, I just use a mouse. I don't feel the need to play those sort of games downstairs. And
on the big
quite
TV.
happy.
Yeah.
And I've got I've got my Xbox 360 controller, which will soon be getting replaced by an Xbox One controller that's bundled with the Oculus Rift. So I think it's a really nice piece of tech. It's really slick. I like how it feels. I love those little bumpers,
little paddles
on the back. The paddles, yeah. And I think it's something I could get used to, but it's not something I feel the need to lay out for.
I think you're absolutely right, Rob. It is literally just that. It's just like if you have a use case for it, then it's a really awesome bit of kit. It's a really awesome tool. But if you haven't, then like don't lose any sleep or anything. You're not really missing anything. That's why I'm making a big point that you're not going to put your Xbox controller down just because you can, just because you've got something that looks like an Xbox controller that's newer.
That's all very helpful for me, Pat. Thanks for that. I had one ordered and a Steam Link as well from Game, but they fucked the order up, so it didn't come through. So I got the 3 games. Woohoo! But I only got a full refund as well. So
those games are really, really, really free.
Yeah.
Those games
they are the freest games I've ever had.
They're the most free games ever.
Free and guilt-free.
It's probably Dress Barbie in version 6.1 and 10 Overdrive. I don't know.
Based on what you've said, Pat, I'm not going to get the controller, but I do want to get a Steam Link because I want to sit on the couch and play stuff running from my PC. But I think I can do that with an Xbox controller, and I can save myself 40 quid.
And also, sorry, one thing I forgot to mention, that little pad, that trackpad, feels exactly the same as the ones on the Vive controllers.
Yeah, I've got that set up already. I've got the Steam thing set up. I've got a PC in the lounge, PC in here.
I don't have a PC in the lounge that would do stuff with it.
And well, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't work very well. And I've tried to play Witcher 3 on it on the big TV downstairs. With my controller plugged in.
Yeah, you're not using Steam Link though, are you?
I am using Steam's in-home streaming thing.
It's just the software, not the hardware dongle that they've
I'm not using the hardware dongle. No, I'm using I've got Steam loaded up on both machines, and I'm doing that, and it's not very good. It's too. You can't play Witcher 3 with it because it feels like everything you're doing is 10 seconds after it happens.
That's a helpful review, but you can't get Windows 10 working and you can't get Skype working. I will take it with a pinch of salt. Sorry, mate.
What? I've got Skype working. I've got Skype working, and this is Windows 10.
I've had some pretty good success with streaming stuff. To be fair, I'm streaming inside my own flat.
Yeah, well, that's how far is that going?
Pointlessly, just to test it out on.
Just see if it works.
Exactly, but actually, it's another thing where it's kind of like a use case scenario. Like on a first person thing, it's like that's
it's too slow.
Maybe if you're playing something that's kind of narrative driven and not like first person shooter or something, it's like you could maybe get away with playing that. It's kind of cool that it works. But some things it's really like, I can absolutely deal with a slight amount.
Were you streaming it over Wi-Fi, Matt?
Yeah.
No. Both machines are plugged into the router, so they're both plugged in. So it's a router connection. It's all top of the range stuff. And the other PC could run the game probably anyway. Most of the time.
So why are you doing it then?
Oh, sorry. I should have mentioned I was using the NVIDIA one, not the Stream one.
Okay.
Sorry?
I was using the NVIDIA one, not the Steam one.
I'm using the Steam beta, so it is a beta. I do understand it's a beta thing. So, but it's been beta for a long time. I've had it set up for ages because I always thought, like, well, how cool. The worst thing about it is that it still plays the game like on your PC, on your monitor in like one room, and you go into the next one, and then it will launch it in there as well. So it's still going on.
Yeah,
it's just mirroring. It's basically like mirror image of it. So therefore, the latency is the only thing I haven't tried to make it quicker is doing the Xbox controller or whatever with those sort of games where you have it connected to the main PC, but then it's basically down to whether you can pick up the signal.
I see. So your latency problem is actually that you're connected to your second PC in the living room, not the first one.
Yeah, with the controller.
Surely you've got. Couldn't you just use a wired controller?
I could do, but I thought it would work just as well through. Well, and it should work just as well through the USB. It should be sending the information quick enough to be able to keep up with it. No, I don't know. Maybe that's what I said. That's the only thing I haven't tried. I haven't tried the Steam controller where it would connect with it. Hopefully, Wi-Fi somehow. And same with Rob's got the controllers where they're Wi-Fi ones. So I've got a plug-in, USB Xbox.
Yeah, mine's Bluetooth.
Yeah, so we could Bluetooth it maybe. So I haven't tried the Bluetooth, seeing whether Bluetooth would work, and then you could actually
the Steam Link box is basically replacing the PC that you're trying to stream to.
Yeah, so I don't understand
you plug
how
the controller into that, and it does stuff.
Well, I'd be interested to see, and it's not far. It's through 2 brick walls, and then, but it's it's cabled, so it's cabled under the flooring, so that shouldn't make a difference. It's a bit laggy. I couldn't play Witcher 3 with it at all. It felt horrible. It was too delayed. But I'd be interested in you guys, if you guys have got that tech to be able to try it, or whoever knows on this. I haven't tried the Steam stuff, so. But yeah, otherwise I'd say, well, I'm already doing that in a kind of hacked fashion, and I can't see the Steam box being any better than what the PC I've built behind the back of the TV is. So I don't know quite how this technology is going to go on.
Valve have a lot of technologists working there.
They've got the latest version of Bluetooth on there. I don't know if that's going to make any difference.
Could do, yeah. I may have to Bluetooth the controller, so the controller talks to the main computer, and not through the Wi-Fi or through whatever, however you should set it up. It should work on Wi-Fi. That's how they're selling it, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's most use cases is Wi-Fi is becoming the norm.
And the cool thing is, it's kind of like beta testing for what this technology is eventually going to be used for, which is doing that over the internet. It's like once you get used to using it, just streaming it into your living room, and it becomes a natural thing. And once the internet speeds globally have caught up enough for it to be like doable.
It's all too hard at the moment.
Sorry, the Steam Link does say wired network is strongly recommended.
Yeah, that's what I've got. I've got that. I've got all of that.
Oh, okay.
It's all wired. Rob knows it's all wired in. The TV's, and the PC behind there is more than capable of probably running most of this stuff. It probably could run it anyway. So I was just trying to test the, I was just testing it. Why not? To see if it works.
Yeah. Well, they put that out there as a beta. That's why.
That's why I'm doing
it's there.
I've been doing it, but it hasn't worked for me. It's too much hassle to get it bloody working anyway, half the time. And when you do get it working, the latency was terrible. So I was like, oh, sod this. So I haven't tried it since, unless you've patched it and rejigged it since I last tried, which was probably a few months ago.
Talking of cool streaming things, though, I just went back to... This is not really gaming related, but I just wanted to quickly mention that I was really impressed because I gave up with Apple Music this week. I only did it, because it was 3 months free. So I just thought, well, I might as well fucking get free music for free rather than pay £10 a month. So I went back onto Spotify yesterday, and the first thing it did was I was listening to Spotify on my work computer, and so it turned my phone into a remote. So it didn't require that I listen. It didn't automatically go, oh, your account's being used elsewhere or anything. It just went, oh, we can see you're using Spotify on this device. So you can use your phone to just control it.
Yeah.
Absolutely seamless. Didn't have to sign into anything. It was awesome.
That sounds like the worst game ever, though.
Yeah, it's not a good game.
Spotify 4 will be better.
I was just really impressed because coming back to that after using Apple Music for 3 months, it's clear that they've done some stuff to compete, because I'm sure a lot of people.
Do you think you're quite close to getting an Android phone then?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We've almost completely won him over with everything.
Well, yeah. The only reason I didn't this time round was because I didn't want to get a really big one. So
you don't have to get the S6. Isn't a big one.
No, but that didn't exist then. You couldn't get the Gear VR for the S5.
No, what? Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Oh, is this Samsung stuff? Is that your phone that you just showed, Samsung?
That's an HTC one.
HTC.
HTC.
Looks like a.
But if I can get a Gear VR for my next phone, then I'll get one.
What have you got?
Gear VR.
He's got the Note.
All right.
Oh, so
I didn't want the Note.
So you're not getting the consumer Gear VR then?
I'm going to wait a little while until I get my next phone, because I'm presuming that someone else is going to bring something out as well. So I want to see what happens then. So, but
who? Apple? Yeah, Apple. You think going to bring?
Apple will. Microsoft will.
Apple definitely will at some point. It's just
Microsoft's got that other thing that they're doing, isn't it? That other
HoloLens.
HoloLens.
Doing AR. Yeah. And I actually think that the Google AR is probably the one I'm the more excited about, even though it's got the least details. But then that's probably why.
What, the Magic Leap one, or?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Really want to hear more about that.
Did anyone while we're sort of in hardware land, did anyone have any thoughts on this SteamOS performance thing?
Not really.
Did anyone read this on?
I didn't read that. What is that?
Basically, they were just saying that SteamOS, Steam machines are generally showing a much lower performance than Windows 10.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Even though logic would suggest that the whole... I thought the popular opinion was that SteamOS was a more streamlined OS designed specifically for running games better.
But it's Linux, isn't it?
Than Windows.
It's
Or
Linux.
Unix, anyway.
That's why. That's
Yeah.
the...
So, and Linux isn't Windows, and everything's built for Windows.
It's
and
rubbish.
the Linux stuff comes along. Well, rubbish is a strong and somewhat subjective word, but
No, it is though, isn't it? It's just a cheap PC,
But
basically.
it's still subjective.
Build a PC. Stop fucking around. You want performance?
Okay.
Build your own.
There we
it's
go.
the most common
Teenage girl
OS,
has spoken.
or it's the most... like, Linux is on everything, isn't it?
yes. It's in your car,
These
on your
phones
phone.
have Linux
Yep.
on it, on your phone,
Macs.
everything.
Yep.
There's more Linux in the world than there is Windows in the world. That's the point. They kind of need to both
But
exist.
Windows is what
and-
the masses uses, so that's what. And
Yeah.
obviously the games need to be sold to the masses, so you can have
Yeah.
the 4th version and the 5th version in a couple of years. So they need to make them work with what everybody has. And a lot of people use SteamOS, a lot of people at work use Linux, they use Linux at home for stuff, and that's fine, that's okay. But the games aren't made for those machines.
I don't know anyone who uses Linux. Do you use Linux?
I've used Linux, I've used it at home.
One of my friends.
Do you
uses
feel
Linux.
dirty?
But the games
dirty? That's how I see it. It's like,
I feel
what?
educated when I use it. I feel like I'm not part of the mass throng going, give me stuff that I want to do.
It's like think of this, Matt. Like,
What can it do though?
Oh, actually, this may not be a good argument, but like, it's the whole PC versus Mac thing,
Yeah.
right? If you're a Mac user, you think Macs are better than PCs, and why is that? Well, the reason is that Macs are really PCs for people that don't really want to
they're on
use
Linux,
PCs.
aren't they?
They don't want to deal with the PC stuff. They just want to get straight into the creative stuff generally, or you know what they want the user interface to be as kind of invisible as possible and as kind of as human as possible. But the thing is,
And that's a
if
bad
you're
thing.
a PC user, well, no, this is the thing. It's not about good or bad. The thing is, that's right for one person, but if you're a PC user, you don't need this interface because you're someone that knows how to use a PC. It's the same thing. If you're a Linux user, you have the PC is the next one up. Oh, you're just a Windows user. It's the
Yes,
same thing.
it's the same argument.
No one's right.
They're just
for
different
people.
and they're all
just
allowed.
different. And you actually need those three different things, and those three different things actually make all three of them better, I think.
There's also a lot of politics involved in the existence of SteamOS. I think Gabe, being an ex-Microsoft employee, has a big kind of problem with Microsoft trying to go the way of Apple and have their walled garden and stuff. So I think he wants to.
And that's a good
he's
thing.
Worried that
That's a good thing that
he's
worried
worried
about
that
it is, absolutely, yeah.
because he's worried that the PC market might become less democratized, and so this, by having SteamOS there, I guess it acts as a slight sort of competition in the marketplace. But the point of this article, I think, is that these games have been ported to SteamOS, and they are not performing well. So the problem here is either the drivers for the hardware drivers aren't working well enough, or the developers aren't porting them well enough, because
Actually, Rob, it's actually the third option. It's neither of those things. It's Linux.
Yeah.
The reason is that historically, graphics cards manufacturers have not had much incentive to author drivers for Linux, and they certainly haven't have as much reason to make them regularly as they do make them regularly for Windows.
So it's not
and Mac.
Linux then,
That's
it's
the
the-
reason.
it's the
the
hardware.
reason that the ecosystem isn't really there yet, because the supply isn't there
Yes.
as much as for the other things. So essentially, the problem can totally go away, and actually can even go in the other direction just with time. That's really all the problem. It just comes down to time.
who needs to sort that out? The OS people, Valve,
The people that make the graphics cards.
the
They work-
hardware
so-
manufacturers need
But
to
it's a
support
supply and demand
SteamOS.
problem, though, really, isn't it? It's previously there hasn't been a massive need for Linux for NVIDIA, for example, to make regular Linux updates. Because if you're a gamer, it's like Ian said, you're probably one of the masses, and you're probably using Windows, and that's the reason for that. That data, essentially. That's the reason.
Or you use Linux for your work and everything else, but when you want to game, you boot to Windows and run the games in there because they work in Windows.
Exactly, and the only reason you do that is to play those games, and that's really what the real thing that article is showing you.
Saying that SteamOS is a problem is a bit ignorant.
It's not.
Well, it's
it's
not.
not.
If you want to buy a Steam box and you think, oh, I'm going to get PC performance by buying that box that's got that in it.
Yeah. The point is, though, Rob, it's basically exactly like the Steam controller. Is time will fix all these problems.
If you want to be an early adopter, you'll be going into it knowing what it is. If you're buying SteamOS because you want a cheap one, you're a fucking idiot anyway, and you won't make it work.
Yeah, well, it's like that's why I mentioned this. I bought this thing sort of knowing that it wasn't really ready yet, that it was low resolution and stuff. But the thing is, because I bought that, and because so many other people thought in the same way as me, because everyone kind of had enough interest in that kind of end reality to take it in a kind of half measure. Because of that, the VR industry now exists. Billions of pounds have been poured into it because people have gone, I know this isn't quite ready yet. I know it's not like a slimline user experience, but I don't give a fucking shit. Like, this is a cool idea. So let's get behind it.
I totally understand that, Pat, but what you're buying is clearly labelled an innovator edition, a dev kit. These Steam boxes aren't, and I just think it's useful to draw attention to these sort of numbers when they're selling it as a PC gaming experience, and it's not a PC gaming.
Who's selling
performance?
Sharks.
Sorry, can I just?
They're all sharks.
Can I just chip in that you can install Windows on the Steam machines? We've got 15 Steam machines at work and Windows on all of them, and that's fine.
That's what I mean. Like the problem.
Windows 10?
Well, that's cool.
Windows
but
10.
The Steam machines are two things, aren't they? They're like.
But that's an extra faff that goes against the whole point of getting a Steam machine. Is that you're getting a PC gaming without the fact. I thought that was a big part of it.
The Steam machine is a small form factor PC that will run games. If you want to use SteamOS on it, that's your choice. But Windows at the moment, based on the conversation that we're having right now, would seem to be the safer way to go. And that may be faff, or you can go with SteamOS where the games don't really work.
Here's the thing, Rob. Here's the thing. Like, you're totally right. Like, at this exact moment in time, it's not the right option to choose if you have your set of interests in mind, which is to play AAA games or indie games or whatever they are. At this very moment in time, you've already got a better tool to do that in this PC. But the point is, mate, someone has started to make an OS specifically for the intent of running computer games. And the point of that is that while that may not be perfect now, there's reasons why that's perfect now that can be solved. And the point that it's important that it exists is that Windows is not an OS built just for playing computer games.
Of course not.
So that basically in the method that it's being made, it can be made to be a really good thing in the future. And that's why you're totally right that it's not like the right thing now. But it's also why it's important that it doesn't.
Yeah, but they're selling it as a
I'm not writing off
item, though. That's what Rob's getting at, I think, is they're selling it as an item that does this, and it doesn't give you PC.
But the thing is,
hold on, it does do it. You're massively... What the fuck?
That's the thing. It does
Ignorance
absolutely
overload.
do the thing it says it's doing. What you're saying is that because...
Isn't there? It's not going to run it like I'm running video games, no?
Yeah, no, but the thing is, though, it does what it says on the tin, and I hate using that expression, and I actually see Reddit, I read that on Amazon, but the point is, it plays games. What you're saying is that something else plays games slightly faster, so therefore the other thing doesn't play games at all. That's not true, though,
I'm not saying that they're selling it. If one of my friends said, they're not selling it as a better way of playing computer games. They're not saying this runs computer games faster than your PC. So what's the point of it then?
Then that's not what they're selling it on. They're selling it on the fact that it's an ecosystem built purely to support.
And it's a small form factor PC games that sits under your desktop and looks console-ish.
And
so you don't have to have a desktop or a laptop.
Doesn't play any of the games
No, but you're being a
Like
dick here,
Fallout.
Matt. You're just being
No, does it play
controversial.
Fallout 4? Can it play? Can it play?
There are
Link?
other.
Can it play?
I know
Mad
at the
Max?
moment that's the best game ever, but there are other games apart from Fallout 4.
Mad Max. Can it play? Can it play any of these games?
There are other games, Matt. You're just being a dick.
So why don't I just?
That-
I could just buy a PlayStation 4 and play other games.
Absolutely, you could. You could absolutely.
So I don't get the whole.
Thing is,
A
it kind of
PlayStation
gives
4
you-
would give you all of those games at 50 quid a pop.
Right.
A Steam machine will give you all of those games and a ton of others for about 50 quid. So it's
Steam sales.
absolutely. And
Right, okay.
everywhere else you get Steam codes from,
But
CD
it can't
keys, all the
play-
rest of it.
It can't play like AA games then. Hasn't got the grunt.
Well,
to play.
you-
Yeah, it plays things like Metro and stuff
Yes.
like that, and it runs them
Shadow
pretty
of
well as
Mordor
well.
is Shadow of Mordor is the benchmark I'm looking at
It
now.
doesn't do
yeah,
all of them,
plays
and,
that, okay.
and that's the point. The point is it's not ready to do all of them, but it does do some of them.
Yeah.
The hard.
I
mean, I'm only getting at the hardware. I'm not having to go or anything. It's just the hardware seems a bit shit to me. When I look at the hardware, I just think that's really bit.
But which bit is
pants.
shit? The Steam machines we've got to work are all, have 980 Ti's in them, so their graphics card's pretty alright.
Right.
Yeah, but then you're talking about
And also-
premium units that are way above the price of the
They're
PS4.
750 quid.
That's the
Yeah.
thing, though. That like
Twice
the
as much,
Steam,
then.
the whole point of the Steam machines isn't actually a one thing, is it? It's like Rob's right about what it's kind of being made for. It's like meant to be like a more console-y PC. It's a PC for playing computer games, but it's meant to be more like that other experience that we've also had from having a console. That Rob's right. That's what it's like going to be. That's what it's meant.
But
to
it's not
be.
what it is at the
But,
moment.
Like it's
That's the.
yeah, but the thing is, it's not one thing, is it? It's not an Xbox. There's
No.
one Xbox, and then there's an Xbox 360. It's not one thing. There's a whole sort of, the whole ecosystem of these different powerful machines that start from the very, very basic that would, you only use for using 2D indie games and streaming, and then the real high end thing. And the whole thing is, it's kind of like a model for what PCs are going to become, isn't it? That's kind of what it's shown you. Everything is going to get smaller, but it's still going to have that kind of varying scale which is what makes PC unique. Consoles don't have that, and the reason, and the fact that consoles don't have that is the reason we have such varied experiences with PC games, because some people want to play these really complicated high-end things. Some people want to play these really weird, quirky things with pixel
Well,
art
they should
and
go
stuff.
back
and
in
like
time. They should go back in time and play it to the
because
Spectrum.
because the PC is that broad thing, it basically is a better ecosystem for a more broad set of software, which the console doesn't have. The console is just one thing. You write software for that one thing. Just by the very nature of PC being a bit different and not being one thing but being loads of different things, that's what makes the Steam machine worth existing. That's what makes it a cool thing to have someone working on at the moment. It may not be the right thing now, but don't forget why it's a very cool thing. And I think that's why it's a very cool thing.
I also don't think I think it's accurate for Ars Technica to say the games aren't very good, but it's also not really fair, because I haven't just started not working with the Steam machines coming out. There have been challenges for Linux games through Steam for a while, and some developers embrace them, like the Metro guys and others, and they will release something that works with that, and others will go, yeah, we just want to take the money from the Windows release and not do anything about that, or we don't want to spend a load of money to get it to work with Linux and all the gazillion different ways you can build a Linux machine. So
Yeah.
It's kind of like pulling Linux together into one place to go, hey guys, put games on this. Like,
yes,
this can
it's
have
like
games
doing the
on it.
Windows
It's like-
release and then a
Yeah.
Mac
Look at me,
release.
look at me.
It's doing the Windows release, which will get to the most people, and then putting a core team on it to make it work with the Mac.
Yeah. Do you remember when Mac games were a bit like Linux games? That there were like
Absolutely,
two
yes.
of them in every
Yeah.
computer game shop. It's
Also,
not
Mac
like that
games.
anymore.
Mac games are also
Still are.
subject to the whims of Apple and their delivery
Yeah,
method
and,
for
and
games.
that's the point about SteamOS, because that isn't. I know you have to jump through some hoops to get a Steam game out, but have you seen some of the shit that is available on Steam? You don't need to jump through too many hoops. The Apple hoops are fucking crushing.
Well, they have to. I heard developers. I listened to a cool podcast that Polygon put up actually about porting games. last night, and they were saying how they actually have to drop features in some cases to get the games onto Mac because certain parts just won't work or they're not allowed to work. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But no, I think I just wanted to draw attention to this article just because I feel like for people who are making a decision about buying a Steam machine or not, I just thought it might be useful to sort of have an idea of the landscape as it is right now and where things stand and why things
absolutely.
are as they are.
Yeah, and that's absolutely like useful information. Yeah, that's totally right. Like if you want to play like high end PC games now, there is a thing for that. And it's called a PC.
Yes.
That is the truth.
Now there
at this
is.
point in time.
Yeah, maybe when we're in episode 200 or something. We missed that one off, didn't we?
Yeah, we were laughing about the days when we used to play on PC.
This has been the Not Playing Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself and Ian talk about movies and TV on the Not Watching Podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. You can let us know what we're doing right or wrong via email at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya. And a Merry Christmas.
Oh shit, it's Christmas, isn't it? Yeah.
And a Happy New Year.
Suck at Call of Duty. I suck at Call of Duty. I suck at Call of Duty.
That was good.
Did you see the link I posted up this when I googled Steam machine? I came up with that.
Hoover.
Yeah, I came up with that. It's a Steam machine. That's the first thing I got. I was like,
beautiful form factor. That's going to look great under the TV.
Steam cleaner. I was like,
and
okay.
very cheap as well.
It's 300
It's
quid.
nice, isn't it?
300 quid.
Do you reckon that's got a 980 in it?
I don't know. It's got.
Well,
It must have a 980 Ti in that. I was
Graphics
like,
card
what the
runs
hell?
hot.
They're really expensive, these Steam machines. The ones I'm looking at are like 490 quid or something. Pro gaming Steam machines. Scan.
I think
this one.
I think it helps that all of us now can really build a PC that would be better than a Steam machine for
look
less
at
than a
this.
Steam machine. So
I mean, look at that. If you look at the specs on that, you don't have to quickly go down. It's an i3 processor. Like, woo, like that's a lot of money.
I mean,
yeah. The machines
you
can still do quite a lot on i3. You're not going to be able to do 1080p 60 frames per second
do shit
on
with that.
the latest games, probably. But
that's what I mean. That's what I'm getting annoyed about. It's like, they're almost tricking people into buying these things and saying, go from your console, buy this thing, and you can play PC games. And I know some people are going to buy it.
Tricking people, Matt. Jesus.
Well, they're not being that obvious. You're not going to get 1080. Where did it ever say 1080p?
You know we're capitalists, right?
Better graphics.
Okay.
What?
yeah, well,
I know we're capitalists. I know it's
still
just for
think-
money, yeah. But I just think it's really
I still
bad.
think ultimately 500 quid to not be able to play the latest games.
It's ridiculous. I can
You
build
could apply the
is-
same
is a bit
argument
of
to
an ask.
Fallout 4. Hey everyone, there's Fallout 4. It's excellent. You get a dog and you can build houses. It's the same game as Fallout 3, but give us 50 quid for this new game. What's the difference?
storyline.
A lot of content. There's a lot of new content.
Build like, I would have paid. I'd have paid 50.
But it
quid
is
just
the
for
same game,
more-
isn't it?
Yes,
It is the same.
of course.
Well, it's like saying the first
why
season of
it's good.
Sopranos is the second
Because the
season
first
of
one was good.
Sopranos, though.
But
it's
it
like,
is.
Still had Tony Soprano in it.
Depends how much you value
The same thing over and over again.
narrative. Okay.
And that's exactly why I was asking Ian why, if he thought that like the context of Just Cause 3 made that more fun if it was the same game, because
It's the same game.
That's
exactly the
because that's
No,
what
it's
I
not Just
found with
Cause
Fallout
1, is
4
it?
is because
It's Just Cause
because I
3.
was playing the same game. But the major difference is Skyrim. The world of Skyrim is like a really beautiful, cool place that I'd like to go to if it was a real place. And Fallout 4 can get fucked. I wouldn't want to go there. I'd hide in fucking,
It's like
I'd hide in a
Basildon,
fucking
for
bunker and
Christ's
just
sake.
cry
Yeah.
till the end of it. Like I wouldn't want to go to that
Yeah.
place. As cool and quirky and funny and stuff as it is, like it's not a place you want to be.
There
It's
aren't
a place you want to go
butterflies
away
skipping
from.
through the meadows.
Although-
That was the only thing that made a difference for me in those two games.
Although when
really.
you get higher up on some of those city vistas, it still
it's
looks
beautiful.
pretty
No,
fucking
the
great.
game is beautiful, but it's beautiful in a sort of violent, ugly, horrible way. That's the difference.
Have you got the robots that will come down and give you a lift somewhere? The helicopters.
No, I killed all those.
Have you? Well,
And
if you
apes
join the
them.
Brotherhood of Steel, you throw a flare down on the floor,
Ah.
and a vertibird just comes
Oh,
down,
I'm missing.
picks up. You sit on the gun, and you can just fly like you're in World of Warcraft on a bird to wherever you need to
Cool.
be.
Yeah, you don't
Fast
get my
travel.
game,
Excellent.
man. The way I'm playing it is if they're human, they're edible. So,
Yeah, okay.
you know, they talk to me.
Well, there are perks for that.
I know they
So
are. Yeah, I've took them all.
it's-
Yeah, and I talk to people. Unfortunately, the game doesn't let me kill some people because I've tried, and it just knocks them unconscious for a bit, and I can't eat them and blow them up. I've tried everything to blow them up.
Damn them for having a quest structure.
Yes, it's
If
got
I'm
a
needed in a
structure.
court case related to this, if we could do it after March, that would be very useful. Thanks very much.
I mean, I do love
Okay,
it.
yeah.
It's great fun. It is. I don't care whether it's. I know Ian's saying it's just basically Fallout 3. Yeah, of course it is. It's all the Fallout. So it's basically Fallout 3 again. And sometimes the graphics are a little bit dodgy, but it is. I can't put it down. I'm probably going to spend 300, 400 hours in it easy.
I think because you guys have said it's more, it does the FPS stuff, I will get it when it's cheaper and give it a look.
Yeah.
But at the moment, there's other things I want to do.
Well, buy that
So,
Steam machine and play
Worth
on
having that
that.
check.
That will save you some money.
Yes.
Tell us what you think.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.